Hey, 8th grade. So today we're going to start talking about the life cycle of a star. And our focus question is, how do we classify, characterize, and compare stars? So a star is born when the contracting gas and dust form a nebula and become so dense and hot that nuclear fusion starts. So in order for a star to form, you need nuclear fusion. How long it lives is dependent upon its mass. All stars begin as nebulas, and a nebula is a large cloud of gas and dust spread out in an immense volume. And a contracting cloud of gas and dust with enough mass to form a star is then called a protostar. And proto means earliest in Greek. So earliest star for protostar. Nuclear fusion then begins in a protostar, and the atoms combine to form heavier atoms. And this releases this huge amount of energy, and the energy is the fuel of the star. As the nuclear reactions occur, the star enters the main sequence stage of its life. Stars with less mass than the sun use their fuel slowly and can live up to 200 billion years. Medium mass stars, like our sun, live about 10 billion years. Our sun is about halfway through its life cycle right now, as it's 4.6 billion years old. Large mass stars have the shortest lifespan, and they only live about 10 million years. As a star begins to run out of fuel, its core shrinks and the outer portion expands, and it becomes either a red giant or a supergiant. When all the fuel is used up, it becomes a white dwarf, a neutron star, or a black hole. So in this diagram, you see the nebula, which is that dense region, and then that starts to warm up and become a protostar, which is where that nuclear fusion occurs. And then it can go either two ways. It can become a supergiant or a red giant, depending on the mass of the star. From the red giant, it can become a planetary nebula into a white dwarf, and then the white dwarf starts to cool, and it becomes a black dwarf, and the star stops glowing. If it goes and it's a supergiant, it can then explode and become a supernova. Once that does that, it blasts away layers, and that creates a neutron star or a black hole.